The house on Shirokawa Street. The old, decrepit house at the end of Shirokawa Street had long been the subject of whispered tales and shuddered glances. Despite its forlorn appearance, no one dared approach it, except Yumi Tanaka. The sky loomed ominously grey as she stood at the rusted iron gate, peering up at the house's jagged silhouette against the brooding clouds. Her heart pounded, but an unshakable curiosity pulled her forward. Clutching a tattered notebook, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and chilling accounts of her town's past, Yumi knew she had to investigate. The house seemed to call to her, its dark windows like empty eyes watching her every move. Her sneakers crunched on the overgrown gravel as she pushed the gate open, wincing at the grating sound it made. The path to the front door was lined with wilted flowers and creeping ivy that reached out as if trying to ensnare her. She suppressed a shiver, pulling her cardigan tighter around her thin frame. Stepping inside, Yumi was greeted by a cold, musty scent that reminded her of the attic back home. Dust particles floated in the dim light that filtered through the filthy windows. The house was eerily silent, save for the occasional creak of old wood settling. With each step, the floorboards groaned beneath her weight, echoing through the empty halls. Yumi's green eyes darted around, absorbing every detail. The peeling wallpaper, the tarnished chandeliers, and the faded portraits of grim-looking ancestors. The air felt thick with an invisible presence, pressing down on her, making it hard to breathe. She followed the hallway toward a large wooden staircase, her fingers lightly brushing the banister. As she ascended, her thoughts wandered to the diary she had found years ago, the one that spoke of a hidden room within this very house. A room where dark rituals were rumored to have taken place, binding restless spirits to the property. Reaching the top of the stairs, Yumi paused. The oppressive silence was suddenly shattered by the sound of distant whispering. Her breath hitched, and she strained to listen, but the voices were indistinguishable, like a chorus of mournful spirits trapped between worlds. Determined, she pressed on, pushing open the door to what seemed to be a master bedroom. The room was dominated by a large canopied bed, draped in once rich fabrics now faded and worn. To her left, an antique vanity stood, its mirror cracked and speckled with age. But it was the wardrobe in the corner that drew her attention. She felt a chill run down her spine, her sixth sense prickling. Something was there. With trembling hands, Yumi tugged at the wardrobe's doors, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside, she found a small, ornate box, its lock twisted and broken. She opened it cautiously, revealing an ancient-looking dagger and several yellowed pieces of parchment covered in those familiar cryptic symbols. As she examined the items, the whispering grew louder, more insistent. Panic bubbled up inside her. She tucked the dagger and papers into her bag, resolving to study them later. But as she turned to leave, the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. Yumi spun around, her heart racing. The room grew darker, and the temperature plummeted. Shadows began to swirl, forming grotesque shapes that clawed at the walls. Her breathing became ragged, and she could see her breath in the frigid air. Summoning her courage, she clutched the dagger and chanted a protective incantation she had memorized from her research. The shadows paused, hesitating before receding slightly. Though their malevolent presence still lingered, she knew she had to get out, and fast. Rushing to the door, she wrenched it open and fled down the hallway, her mind a blur of fear and determination. The whispering voices followed her, growing more agitated as she descended the stairs and bolted toward the front door. Yumi burst outside, gasping for breath as she stumbled into the daylight. The oppressive weight lifted, and the whispering ceased, replaced by the quiet chirping of birds. She glanced back at the house, now seemingly lifeless and benign in the afternoon sun. Clutching the notebook and the items she had found, Yumi felt a newfound resolve. She had uncovered just a fraction of the dark secrets tied to her town and her family, but she knew there was more, so much more. The haunting was far from over, but for now, she had escaped its clutches. As she walked away from the house on Shirokawa Street, Yumi couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was watching her, waiting for her next move. The sinister forces at play were beginning to reveal themselves, and Yumi Tanaka was determined to unravel the mystery, no matter the cost.